Welcome to Experian Exchange, featuring exclusive interviews with all the latest news and insights with Experian's business leaders. As financial ecosystems grow more complex, consumers and companies alike are facing new challenges and new opportunities. The stakes have never been higher. So how are organisations rising to meet this moment? Well, joining me today is Jeff Softley, CEO of Experian North America. Jeff, welcome to the program. Great to have you on Experian Exchange.
It's so good to be here. It's great to be here. Thanks, Del.
So, Jeff, of course, the financial services world is changing rapidly. What are some of the trends that you're seeing right now, and where do you see the biggest opportunities coming from?
Well, it's actually a really exciting moment to be operating in financial services. And I think there's maybe three really big trends that come to mind. First and foremost, you hear about this everywhere, but AI is most certainly affecting financial services. The second trend maybe to call out, which a lot of our clients and many of the consumers that we serve are thinking about, relates to they want a digitally enabled experience. They want it to be convenient, fast, personalized. That's a huge focus for many of our clients and what consumers expect. And maybe, last but not least, financial inclusion is a huge focus for so many organizations. How do they better make decisions about risk and extending lending to new customer segments, to new groups? And there's never been more data available to make that happen.
It's interesting you talk about data because, of course, technology, you mentioned AI, and data are really transforming your industry. So tell me, how are you at Experian using these tools to make life easier for consumers and financial institutions?
We have so many use cases in development, really big things and really small things that could have a meaningful impact. But it's important to acknowledge the moment that we're in. While there's never been more technology, more capability, many of our clients are still mired in some of the regulatory challenges and some of the explainability challenges of leveraging this technology. And so it's a really interesting moment where the technology is emerging, but many of our clients are trying to figure out, how do I actually put this to use in a way that's going to meet many of the needs of many of the constituents that I serve? And so we've got a few examples of how we're doing that. We've got the Experian Assistant, which works within our sandbox ecosystem. And one of the best things about that capability is that it works within a regulatory compliant environment. So it allows clients to get from insight to action much faster than they'd be able to do otherwise.
So, Jeff, as a leader in this space, how do you approach making decisions when everything is changing so quickly?
It's a fun moment. It's an exciting moment, and it's a growth moment, but it's also a moment met with some really clear challenges, and some of those challenges aren't new. One of the biggest challenges with AI is it's a consumer behavior problem, meaning how do you get all of your employees to lean into these tools and these capabilities? How do you introduce AI capabilities into the workforce in a way that an employee thinks about leveraging AI in a responsible and safe way as their first mode of operation, not their last mode of operation? And so it's a fun moment to be in, but the funny thing about it is at the end of the day, it's really a moment where it comes down to how we all behave. What tools do we use, and can we get familiar with new tools and new capabilities? And so a lot of our focus is on education. It's all about how do we infuse these capabilities, and how do we also demonstrate the full potential of what AI can deliver to our employees who are building solutions to solve problems for clients and consumers.
So to that point, let's talk about AI and how it's really driving innovation. What internal factors enable this? I mean, how is it shaping solutions, particularly in your line of business when you talk about fraud prevention and financial inclusion?
Well, I mean, it's a tool that's really well positioned for many of the challenges that exist today, but it also brings with it some new challenges that we have to think through. But if we talk about some of the opportunity, if you're a consumer and you're trying to figure out how to navigate your financial journey, how to get the things that are important to you, buy a house, get a car, succeed, having a AI-enabled financial assistant is a hugely valuable asset. It's an incredibly valuable capability. And so we took that to heart and we built EVA, which is our Experian Virtual Assistant. Okay. It's live inside our consumer product ecosystem. Millions of consumers are interacting with it every single day, and they're asking it questions about their own financial journey, and they're getting advice, and they're also taking action with it. I think some of the challenges and the new things that emerge from this technology we've been in a chat-enabled phase of AI. We're moving into an agentic phase of AI where the expectation will be that AI is conducting activities on our behalf, whether we're an employee inside a company making decisions or whether we're a consumer who's trying to book a flight to go on vacation. And that poses new challenges. Some of those challenges include, how do you know what's a good agent and what's a bad agent? How does an agent get to know you and really act on your behalf in a way that feels true and honest and respectful of who you are as a consumer? And so there will be many emergent new needs that result from this new technology. Fraud, you mentioned, is clearly an example of that. First-party fraud is a big challenge for many companies. And so we think that we play a central role in many of those new emergent needs. Now it's going to take a lot of creativity, a lot of flexibility, and we're also going to have to work with a lot of partners to bring those solutions together.
So when you're talking about generative AI, and of course you use the example of Eva, tell me a little bit more about how, as a financial services company, you're using this technology to help consumers really take charge of their own financial health.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunity in a nutshell is, it's highly personalized. An AI agent capability it knows you and it can interact with you. And if we train it with the right data, it has very specific recommendations around acts that you could take, changes that you could make in your own financial spending behavior. And it can also enact some activities for you. So I'll give you some real world examples of how some of the consumers inside our business are using it. Well, they're asking it to help create a budget. They're asking it to analyze how they're spending money. They're asking it to understand some of the basics about credit. And in the not too distant future, Eva's going to be able to help a consumer actually apply for a credit card and get a credit card within our platform, which is a huge step forward. I mean, so the potential is quite vast and impressive.
Actually, kind of set me up for my next question, which is when we talk about AI and helping people with their financial situations, how do you see AI kind of help people navigate increasingly complex financial ecosystems in the years ahead?
Well, I think, a big part of the financial ecosystem is complex and hard to understand. I think credit itself is, seemingly often a challenging topic for people to understand. And so the potential of AI is to make that much simpler for consumers, to help guide them through, what are complex processes. How do I shop for insurance? How much coverage do I even need? How might I plan to get a house, which, as we know, is one of the biggest determinants of generational wealth. And so I think we view the potential of AI as incredibly empowering. With appropriate use, we think that it can fuel a big part of our mission, which is to bring financial power to all and to help millions of consumers achieve their goals and their aspirations. And we think we're very well positioned to do that based on the fact that we've got more than 80 million customers in our consumer business and a vast array of data assets and capabilities. And we've got a huge distribution and connection network into financial services partners. So we play like a very good intermediary role to help consumers achieve what they want and also help financial institutions find their next best customer.
You've used some really good examples about how Experian's using AI to help customers meet their financial needs. We've talked about the opportunities, we've talked about these great examples, but I want to talk about trust.
Yep.
How do you build trust with your clients? Because it's more important than ever.
Yep.
What are you doing to focus on these strong, lasting relationships, particularly in the age of AI?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And it also kind of goes back to that point we made at the beginning, which it's a increasingly new technology capability that's coming to market, and there's some age-old problems that sit underneath it, right? There's the question of trust. There's the question of explainability. There's the question of how do you get consumers and employees and other constituents to use it and really untap the value of it. And I think trust is one of the first and foremost things that we've got to take on. What I will say we're doing with clients is we're really listening to their needs. And an example of one of the client problems that we've heard about and that we've thought a lot about is, okay, I would like to unleash the potential of AI to create models, decisioning models and capabilities. We know that there's massive potential in our ability to do this better as a client, to make better decisions for consumers. But I still have a legacy of regulatory requirements I need to meet. Many of those have not moved at anywhere near the pace that the technology has moved. One solution that we've built as a result of listening to our clients and understanding, where their needs are is we built a model governance manager tool. It's a capability that works inside the Ascend platform, which is installed in 70% of the top 20 financial institutions. And what it allows an end client to do is to deploy AI models and create all of the regulatory requirements needed to deploy those AI models. So the explainability of the models, how is it decisioning, right? What changes have been made? And so in that instance, one of the big innovations was we need to put the regulatory requirements front and center. That's what's slowing our clients down. That's what's keeping them from being able to unleash the full potential of this new capability. And so that's where we focus because we think that's the big logjam to get to the value of AI.
Jeff Softley, as the CEO of Experian North America, look into your crystal ball. Yeah. Look ahead for me. Tell me, what is your vision when it comes to Experian's role in creating a more inclusive, secure, and more importantly, innovative financial services environment?
You're speaking to my heart. So all of these things are huge focus for me and for the enterprise overall. I think first and foremost, we have a long history of financial inclusion. One of the reasons that I've been at Experian for more than 20 years is because what we do matters. Our role affects millions of consumers, and when we do it right, we can help consumers achieve all their life ambitions. And that is an incredibly exciting position to be in, to be able to affect change for the positive. And perhaps the most important thing that I'm really excited about, the potential that we have with innovation, unlocking it across the portfolio. We are in a unique position where we can solve problems in ways that other companies can't. And back to our conversation on trust, you can't discount the value of trust in both constituents, consumers and the clients that we serve. And we have a huge degree of trust with the clients and the consumers that we serve. And we've talked a lot about financial services, but this portfolio is vast. I mean, we've got information on more than 300 million automotive vehicles in the US, 60% of the healthcare industry is using our data. We have such a significant footprint, which really unlocks a massive potential for us to create innovation in a whole host of end markets. And again, with the right purpose, we can go really far with that.
Jeff Softley, thank you so much for joining us on Experian Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me.
We hope you enjoyed that interview with Experian's North America CEO, Jeff Softley. Stay tuned for more fantastic insights in part 2.